Hello and welcome back to the Movie Memo Recaps. Today we are going to recap a 1993 movie titled Falling Down. Please be advised that there will be spoilers ahead. The film opens with William D. Fentz stuck in traffic in Los Angeles on a scorching day. On the bus next to him, children are screaming. His car's air conditioner is also broken. He eventually runs out of patience. He exits the car and starts walking down the street. Someone in another car asks him where he is going and William replies that he is going home. Then a traffic officer arrives and inquires about the problem. One man explains what happened, as does Prendergast, a police officer who is retiring today. The three people shove the vehicle to the side. William then goes to a phone booth to call his ex-wife. Today is his daughter's birthday. She answers the phone, but William remains mute. Looking at the coins in his palm, he hangs up the phone and walks to a nearby supermarket to request change. The shopkeeper tells him that he must buy something before he can receive the change. When William approaches the counter with a can of Coke and discovers it costs 85 cents rather than the 50 he had hoped for, he begins to quarrel with Mr. Lee. Lee becomes furious with William, and the owner pulls a baseball bat and orders William to leave. William grabs the bat and damages the product sold at higher than fair pricing. After all of this, he pays for his Coke and leaves. Meanwhile, today is Prendergast's last day, so his co-workers encourage him to be cautious. They also inform him that today they are honoring his retirement. Then his wife phones him and tells him to stay safe and come home soon, in tears. He is carrying a photograph of a youngster, who happens to be his deceased daughter. William then walks to the phone booth to call his ex-wife, but the line is busy, so he hangs up and departs. He climbs a hill in gangland, which is filled with Hispanic gang activity. He's sitting there, looking at the hole in his shoe. Then two males approach him and inform him that this is a private area and that no one should enter. But he continues, "I wouldn't have come here if I'd known it was a private place." He requests them to let him go, but they demand money from William, who refuses because he cannot pay. They threaten him with a knife before attempting to grab the suitcase. William grabs the bat behind his suitcase, beats both of them, and chases them away. Mr. Lee goes to the police station to meet Prendergast and complain about the man with the white shirt and tie who wrecked his shop. On the other hand, the gang members vow vengeance, and a carload of weaponry, including automatic rifles, is soon out looking for William. William phones his ex-wife again and has a tense, heated talk with her. He makes it clear that he intends to attend his daughter's birthday celebration regardless of what she says. After hanging up the phone, the group tried a drive-by shooting, but miss. William hit others, killing or injuring numerous people, and crashed their car during their escape attempt. William simply looked on, as if nothing was happening around him. He comes over to the gang's crashed car. William picks up the surviving man's gun and begins taunting him and admonishing them for missing him before shooting him in the leg, telling him how simple it was, and walking away with a gym bag filled with weapons. William's ex-wife has already filed a police report against him. A court has ordered him not to come within 100 meters of her home. He then tries to board a bus along the route, eyeing homeless individuals and people of different colors. As he is pushed back from the crowd trying to get the bus, he decides to walk. He is pursued by a poor man who seeks to extort money from him by giving him a fabricated story, which only frustrates him. William finally gives in to this man's claim that he owes him money by handing him his briefcase, where we discover that all he had inside was a chicken lunch consisting of a little sandwich and an apple. Without lunch, he stops by the neighborhood Whammy Burger for a tasty breakfast. Still, he's disappointed when the cashier and management refuse breakfast orders because it's past 11:30. He grabs his machine gun and asks for breakfast. Everyone is terrified and attempts to flee, but he tells them to sit down and enjoy their meal. When he pulls the trigger, the gun showers bullets, and everyone is terrified, but he explains that the gun is sensitive. Looking around, he obtains a small burger, but he is unhappy once more, complaining that the burger is so prominent on the menu, but he receives it as if it were leftover food from the day before. He resumes his trek to his ex-wife's residence, pausing along the way to buy a musical unicorn and a snow globe as a gift for his kid, and later attempting to phone her. Once again, he finds only a busy line, and is confronted with an angry man waiting to use the phone booth, so he blasts the booth with the machine gun to teach him a lesson in patience. He then looks into replacing his worn-out shoes. He walks into an army surplus store owned by a neo-Nazi racist. He recognizes William. He abuses the homophobes there, and they are upset, departing silently. He tells William, "I don't like such people." William tests the shoes in the trial room. A female police officer approaches the scene and inquires about a man wearing a white shirt and tie. The man carefully closes the screen of the trial room, where William is sitting, and states that he hasn't seen him anywhere. After the police officer has left, William wonders why the man had saved him from the police. He brings William into a secret room. He hides a variety of stuff from the Nazis, including war relics and a rocket launcher. When he realizes that this man believes he and William are allies, he becomes outraged at being grouped into a group he does not consider himself to be a member of, and a violent altercation occurs. When this man discovered of William's hostility to him, he threatens him with harm, prompting William to stab him to escape. However, he goes one step farther and teaches him a lesson. He shoots and kills the man. He phones his ex-wife again and reminds her that he is still on his journey and has passed the point of no return, comparing his mission to that of stranded astronauts, before concluding the discussion by adding that it is still legal to kill your wife in some South American countries. Meanwhile, Prendergast and his assistant Sandra start their inquiry. They visit Mr. Lee's shop and conduct an in-depth investigation. When Prendergast sees the hill, he goes there. When he looks down from that elevation, he can see the road where he was stopped in traffic that morning. Then he learns that the person who abandoned his car in the middle of the road in the morning is to blame for these troubles. He determines who owned the car by looking at the word defense inscribed on the number plate. Now William comes upon a traffic bottleneck in front of a construction site, similar to the one he encountered earlier. He knocks out a man who is yelling at other commuters. As he walks down the street, he challenges one of the construction workers to tell him what they are doing on this street. He claims he drove the street 2 days ago and it was in good condition, and that they are merely working on it to reach their monthly quota and keep the construction companies from holding him and the other upstanding citizens hostage. He decides to shoot a rocket at the truck. Instead, he misfires and sends it beneath the road and through the sewers, blowing up a crane as it arrives. The police officer arrives at William's residence from wherever he is. They meet his mother and learn that William works for the government as a missile maker, but he lost his job a month ago. William's mother is taken aback since for the past month, William has been pretending to attend his usual job. Meanwhile, William leaps over another fence and into the golf field. William's rage begins with an elderly guy smashing a ball at him in an attempt to chase him off his golf course. In response, he shouts to him about how their course's entire acreage is being exploited to entertain a few dumb old men. He shoots the golf cart, causing the old man to have a heart attack, and the golf cart contains his heart medication. He jokes about it. He jumps another fence and discovers the backyard of a lovely manor, where a family is having a barbecue. He realizes that the family is not the home's tenants, but rather the owner's caretakers. He feels insulted for holding them captive. When he discovers that this home is owned by a plastic surgeon, he laments how he chose the wrong career, claiming that he is no longer economically viable and a relic of the past. And he is offended once more when the patriarch of this household dares to suggest that he may harm his family. Then he gets horrified when he sees the blood on the child's hand but realizes it's his. The owner of the family pleads, "Hold me hostage, but leave my family." William says, "I will not hurt you." And William exits the building. He then contacts his ex-wife and informs her that he has arrived at an ice cream parlor near their home. His wife senses William is approaching and scoops up her daughter before fleeing the house. Understanding this, William rushes to his residence and finds no one there, and his ex-wife has already departed. Then he takes the DVD from there and plays it, recalling his time with his family. Shortly, Prendergast and Sandra arrive at the residence. Sandra enters through the back door with a gun, but Prendergast learns he does not have one. When William hears a sound, he goes inside to prepare with a gun. Suddenly, Prendergast hears a firing sound. When he arrives, Sandra collapses with a bullet in her midriff. William flees the scene, and Prendergast quickly calls for an ambulance, takes her firearm, and pursues William onto a fishing pier. Finally, William catches up with his family and hugs his daughter, but his wife is terrified at seeing him holding a gun. When Prendergast approaches William, his wife snatches his gun and runs away. Prendergast confronts William and listens to his diatribe about feeling tricked by his employees. Annoyed by this criminal's pettiness and juvenile concerns, Prendergast tells William that everyone suffers deception in life, but there is no excuse for intimidating people with violent felonies that day. Despondent that he has always been in the wrong, William claims to have a gun and asks him to a gunfight. With no other options, William deceives Prendergast. He carefully brings his hand closer to his pocket. Prendergast recommends against doing this. Suddenly, both of them fired at each other, exposing that William was simply using a water gun. Prendergast brushes the water from his face. William exclaims, "I won this match," before falling into the ocean and dying. Later, Prendergast sits next to William's daughter in the closing scene, comforting her. Thanks for watching. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe for more of these recaps. Until next time, have a nice day.